Good morning, everyone. I beat the noon. Haha. Today, I really wanted to speak to you about 5 tips, not 10, 5 tips to help you lose weight and really try to start rebuilding your relationship with food. Now, the reason that I find this topic really fascinating is that I found it very helpful for patients. And having done 7 years worth of podcast interviews, which started because I was curious about how individuals were able to overcome their food addiction and change their lifestyle and lose 50, 100, 200 pounds and keep it off for many years, over a decade. I've learned a few things, and it's just, again, the curiosity just keeps pulling me into this mindfulness arena. But I wanted to share with you 1 or 5 of these points. Let me pull up my notes here again. And the first thing is really understanding mindful eating instead of mindless eating. So step 1 is to really understand that we need to savor every bite. And I want to walk you through an exercise. You may have heard of it. It's called the Raisin Experiment. But instead, I don't have any raisins. But what I do have is this little truffle that I ordered from Whole Harvest. If you're interested in looking or ordering from Whole Harvest, the link is in my bio. And if you go to Whole Harvest /Dr. Marbus and click there and then put in plants 30, you get $30 off your first order. But anyway, these truffles are delectable. And the smell alone makes me salivate. But the whole point of the Raisin Experiment is to take a piece of food that you would normally maybe just gulp down, but take a time to actually engage all 5 senses. And that's one of the other tips. So we're going to learn to savor by slowing down. And so basically you start with vision, right? So you're looking at the different textures. This could be any food, a grape, a raisin, a piece of apple, whatever you like. It doesn't matter. But small enough, I think, so you can hold it and not so messy that, it drips off your fingers. So when you're engaging with your eyes, what does it look like? Make note of the different colors. You might have to put on your old lady reading glasses like I do and say, okay, here are some delicious dates with cocoa powder, and I can see the powderiness of them, whatever it might be. There might be wrinkles. It might be a variety of things. Next thing is touch. Is it sticky? Is it slippery? Is it cold? Is it warm? And of course, the sense of smell. So what's occurring now is that I'm smelling it. I'm noticing that inside my body, I'm salivating. In my mouth, I'm salivating. And I'm sure my stomach is starting to gurgle a little bit. But those are starting to utilize all of your senses. The hearing, it makes a sound as I crinkle it, right? So that kind of gooiness factor. So that is this first step, is understand we're just being mindful in this moment of eating. It doesn't mean you have to do this with every bite, but it's a really good practice to at least do once a day with some portion of your food where you need to slow down and enjoy it. Now, another piece of this that I like to would be enhancing at this moment is to be grateful for food. So that would be step 3. Hold on one sec here. So I'm talking to her. The gratefulness, is practicing gratitude for the food where it came from. So I know that this food came from Whole Harvest, that the founder one of the co-founders that I've interviewed, his partner had a heart attack, actually had 2 heart attacks, which led him to create the business of Whole Harvest to provide meal delivery service of fresh, delicious food to people who also want to invest in their health, but don't have the time necessarily to cook. And so I know this food traveled to me because of someone suffering. I know that there was, and I've run a business, I've sold businesses. I know how hard it is to build a business. So there's an intense gratitude in just this little food. But if you can do that with anything, right? So if you like LaCroix, I like to drink LaCroix. Or if you go to the grocery store and you buy their food, just think about the journey of the food and all the different people that were involved in bringing that food to you in that moment. From the moment the seed is planted, to the land, to it's picked, that it's harvested, that it's processed, whatever that looks like, and then traveling to you. Or maybe it's you growing your own food. What is the work involved with hauling the soil, prepping the bed, planting the seed, caring for it, then pulling it, making it in part of another delicious meal. So this whole conversation started with just a little wedge of a chocolate truffle. And so the other piece of that is it's really hard to stay focused on something if you're distracted, right? So we do these death scrolls through social media. Not that I want you to skip mine. I'm just kidding. If you need to, I would rather you eat mindfully than watch me talk. But really just focusing in and removing the distractions. And that includes reading, watching TV, the computer, just sitting back. Maybe it's being outside and just enjoying listening to nature and then reflecting on your food. Another thing that you can do to slow down is eat with the opposite hand. Put down your utensil between bites. I find that super helpful because I am not ambidextrous. Anyway, this thing is really delicious smelling. Anyway, so I basically I'm going to savor this bite in a minute. I'm limiting my distractions. I'm going to engage all 5 senses. And I'm practicing gratitude. Now, the next piece comes together with chewing slowly and thoroughly. Because when you do that, you allow a few things to happen, especially if you're eating nitrate-rich greens. We're going to start that process of the nitric oxide reaching your wonderful arteries, the endothelial cells that will relax those arteries and decrease blood pressure and all the wonderful things that come with that. So if you take your first bite, what you want to do, I'm sorry, guys, I'm not sharing with you. I would if I could. Chew slowly. My taste sense is being utilized. It has a rich, dark, delicious chocolatey flavor. It kind of melts on your tongue. I can feel my tongue brushing against my teeth, trying to savor it even more. I'm trying to talk and also savor and chew thoroughly. What I would do is try not to swallow till I liquefy this food. Seriously. Because when you do that, it really brings home the mindfulness of just the act of chewing, thinking about the food, and then you're swallowing it. And then you almost feel it going down into the esophagus, and then it's going into the body. And then I'd like to say, a gratitude of thanks for me having the opportunity in this day and age of abundance to have food in front of me that's not only delicious but nourishing. And I would say that even if you're cooking food for family, even if it's family that's struggling with, eating your healthy food, just know that you're doing the right thing by placing healthy meals in front of them, especially kids or maybe a spouse who's reluctant to embrace a whole food plant-based diet. Do what you can because, every step, every ounce of work that we're doing has a meaning and it's helping people. I think that's amazing. So anyway, as you can see, I get really tickled easily and excited, but here's it again. What happens is when you slow down and you savor every bite, you limit your distractions, you engage all of your senses, you chew slowly, and you practice gratitude, you end up giving your body time to digest. The stomach expands, sending signals to the brain saying, hey, I think I'm actually pretty full. And guess what happens? You eat less. You're already eating more calorie less foods, but this can be done with any food. And amazingly, what happens is you start losing weight if you need to. Just the art of mindful eating can be done at any time. And it makes you start thinking about your own sensation of hunger. When you go to the refrigerator, I look that way because my refrigerator is that way. Going to the refrigerator and you open it and you're like, am I even actually hungry? Maybe I need to do something else that's more constructive because I'm actually not hungry. I just ate like an hour ago. So again, these are just kind of some of the discussions that start happening in your head when you practice the art of mindfulness, mindful eating, mindful walking. Just there's so much power in that. And then guess what also happens? This improves your mood. When you are starting to speak of gratitude, you can't help but be a happier person. I almost don't like the word happy. Happy is elusive. It's difficult to define, but this is more of joy and content. And when you can find joy and content in every day, even when it's a struggle, that's a good life. And so, anyway, guys, I hope you found that helpful. Try to keep these short and beneficial for you. And I love that you're here. So thank you for spending time with me today. All right. And I will sign off. Have a great, beautiful rest of your day.